Hi, my name is Weston Weber. I'm the president of Southwest Putting Greens International, located here in Arizona. On behalf of Southwest Putting Greens and all of its licensed dealers throughout the United States, I welcome you to beautiful Arizona. We're standing here in the backyard of Hale Irwin, the #1 senior player in the world, and here's what Hale Irwin had to say about our company.
Southwest Putting Greens, in my estimation, is you're trying to go beyond the norm. You're trying to be #1 in your business. If you're not there already, you're there and you're trying to get to be better, and that's great. Taking input from players such as myself and Calcavecchi and Garcia and all the players that you have, that's very important. But I think all of us, when we're out there, and that is our business, is putting the ball in the hole. When you're putting, you want to know if it's your stroke that's off or if it's your putting surface that is off. The Southwest putting green, you do have those advantages of getting something more than just putting. Is chipping and pitching an integral part of the game? Absolutely. Do I practice out here? Absolutely. So when you're talking about putting greens, you're not just talking about pure putting. You're talking about the surrounds, and you can build a bunker and hit bunker shots and you get the same sort of reaction, or very close to that same reaction. You can pitch it and get the same sort of reaction, and it really is I think the sand gives you that basis to make those adjustments in your game if need be. And one of the things I try to do is when I putt, I like to listen to the ball, not go in the hole. I mean, that hopefully it will, but I wanted that first couple of feet, is there a lot of chatter in there? If there's a lot of chatter in there, then maybe I've got a surface that I don't care for, because chatter on a real green, for instance, if you heard it, it's because the ball is sort of being lobbed and it's got a little bit of backspin, it's skidding before it rolls. Well, I don't want to hear that skid. And so when I'm out here practicing putting, if I can eliminate most or all of that skid, then I know the ball's cutting off my blade very well. And I can only do that if I know I've got a consistent surface to do that. I felt that, yes, it would have been nice to have a natural putting green, but at the same time, not being here and not having a superintendent on staff that would come over here to watch over it sort of led us away from doing that. I think as a purchaser, you have to understand that once you put something in that's natural turf, there is the ongoing maintenance. There's the watering, the fertilizing, and the cutting, and the worry about pesticides and all that stuff. With this, you can get pretty much the same effect with just your upfront costs, and after that, that's it. To me, the only way you can really control a putting surface is an overlay of sand. I think if you were to just have your flat matted surface, it goes from that speed, and as time wears on, it gets faster and faster and faster and looks worse and worse and worse. With your surface, we can continually brush it and resand it, and I must say that the sand sits down below the top of the grass, so we're not putting on sand per se. We're putting on the tops of the turf. Artificial as it may be, it still gives a nice roll, and I've been very impressed with the roll. And as we were laying this out and you were here, we were talking about little nuances in the green, and you can get that consistent nuance in there. And I don't believe in big, when you're having a putting course, big contours and greens, but I also don't think you should have a perfectly flat green either. And I think as we've seen the experiences thus far, we've got some nice subtle breaks in this green, which I think are indicative of the way I would try to design a green. With the Southwest putting green, I feel with the sand, you can control the depth of that sand. You can control the speed of that sand. And the sand is not the issue. I don't know why we're talking about sand, because there's no real effect. The ball rolls on top, and the sand is there primarily to give it some compaction, to make the fibers stand, and the way you treat those gives you a nice putting surface. Now, when I'm out there putting, I don't don't get sand on the ball. I don't see sand laying on the surface that I've seen with other greens. I saw one green in particular once that was shown to me, and I walked out and I saw the sand just being like stripes, like you might see a green being cut. It was just laying in stripes. I thought, that doesn't look right. So I don't think the sand is not the issue here. It's what do you want in terms of an accurate, predictable surface that I can learn. I am still learning how to putt, by the way, that anyone can go out and enjoy their experience. First of all, Weston, any product or any service goes back to the people, and I think you and your people have been extremely cooperative. So I think that says a lot of what we as purchasers want to see in getting a product or a service, is that you want to get the service behind that. Technically, I think you're as good and better than anybody else in the business. There's a lot of good products out there, but I think this is probably at the top of the list. Well, just before we did this, I told you I'd rather putt here than putt over at the club that I belong to, because I think the surface is more, it's more predictable, it's more consistent, and I need that consistency. And I want to learn the problems I'm having. Sometimes if it's a bumpy green, I can't figure out what's wrong. Is it me? Is it the green? If the ball's wobbling, I can come to my green and I can get a consistent roll. So if I'm missing putts, I know it's me. If I'm getting a true roll, then I can identify that problem and the correction very quickly and much more effectively. The tee to green game is a part of golf which is very, very important, but the short game is where you really make it or don't make it. And those of us that are playing for a living, I can come here and I can continually work on the scoring part of my game without having to load up a putter in my car and drive 5 minutes to 35 minutes or an hour to a facility to practice my putting and then turn around and drive back. I have the comfort of being right here in my backyard. I can go out and work on the things I need to work with. First thing to go is your short game, your putting. The last thing to come back when you're getting ready is your putting. So, but what's the easiest thing to practice with this in my backyard is my putting. So I can see, hopefully I can keep a consistency in my game throughout the year without having to go through all the gyrations of the other stuff. You've got some great clients. They will have some very valuable feedback, because we all, even though we're doing the same thing, we may have little idiosyncrasies in our games or in our approach, which you can take and put into your product. And I think that's very important when you're trying to build the ultimate product. Can't speak for other companies and other crews, but your crew did a marvelous job. I was quite impressed with their wanting to please me. Their willingness to take my questions, my comments, and work them in a positive direction. I don't like working with people that well, okay, we'll listen, but we're really not going to listen. You can tell somebody's kind of out of focus, so they're not really into what you're saying. And I think your crew did a great job. Technically, I think there's probably none that could match that. One of the things that's important to me is to be able to share this with my friends. And my friends, yes, I have some professional friends, but it's to bring my family over, to bring our friends over, and we can come out here and have fun doing this. It has to be a fun activity. If I can bring kids over here, my grandson, if he can have fun out here, that may turn him on to golf someday. Kind of a way to keep the game in front of the people that make it possible for me to play professionally. But it has to be a family fun activity, and I think that certainly provides that. You don't have to worry about it getting beat up. For instance, if we had natural turf, you think, oh my goodness, I got people out there dragging their feet or banging around on it. Well, this surface, while it can be damaged, it's pretty resilient. So for anybody, I would suggest to them, if you're not a professional, then that's fine. Look at it from the standpoint of it being a great fun family activity. And that goes for anybody. You spoke of Australia, and I know you've done a course in Europe, or greens in Europe. So, around the world, it matters little. It's the same common denominators. You need to have fun at the professional level. We need to have a business environment which we can do our thing, and with all the licensees you have around the world, and I would endorse your product anywhere. I think it's great. If you are in the market for a putting green, I would strongly suggest that you explore Southwest Putting Greens. I'm very pleased with it. I'm sure you will be very pleased with it. It can be a fun activity, and for those of us in the business, it is a great tool to use in our practice sessions.